Barely a week before the end of the First World War, on the 11th of November 1918, the New Zealand Rifle Brigade had its finest hour during its war on the Western Front in France. The fortified French town of Les Quesnoy lay directly in the path of the Kiwi troops, who proceeded to liberate the civilian population from 4 years of German occupation. After a short engagement, the Kiwi troops captured the town and over 1,000 enemy troops who had steadfastly refused to surrender. The following dramatisation of the World War I reenactment at classic fighters is entirely fictional and doesn't attempt to portray the historical facts of the engagement at Les Quesnoy. 4th of November 1918. On a cold grey morning, somewhere behind the British front lines, a lone Bristol fighter from No. 16 Squadron, Royal Flying Corps, takes to the air on a mission to reconnoitre the German troop positions in and around Les Quesnoy. At the same time, at another Allied airfield, the Sopwith Camel, previously flown by New Zealand ace Clive Collett, warms up and then also takes to the air for an early morning patrol. Unknowingly mimicking their British counterparts, pilots from the Imperial German Air Service also make the most of the good flying conditions and take to the air for their usual early morning sortie. First off the ground is a flight of 5 Fokker triplanes, led by the legendary Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron. Next up from the German airfield is a lone Halberstadt d.iii, whose pilot has been ordered to find out what the Allied troops are up to. Finally, a recently repaired Pulse D3 also taxis out onto the field and then takes to the air. The Bristol fighter is the first aircraft to appear in the sky over Les Quesnoy, and it begins to sweep back and forth to find out what is happening below. Suspecting that an attack on the town is imminent, the German garrison brings up some additional heavy weapons to strengthen their positions. Meanwhile, outside the town, an advance party of French troops arrive at their post and enjoy a short break from the rigours of battle. Appearing more interested in the Allied Bristol fighter aircraft flying overhead, the French take little notice of what the Germans are doing as they begin to set up their weapons. Sweeping in low over the town, the Bristol pilot and his gunner can plainly see what the Germans are up to, and decide to make things interesting by shooting up the enemy positions from above. By now, the French realise that the Germans are up to something and open fire, forcing the ground battle to begin. Not content to wait in their prepared positions, the German troops advanced on the French soldiers, hoping to force them to retreat away from the town. Finally arriving on the scene, the Halberstadt pilot sweeps in to aid his comrades on the ground and attacks the Bristol fighter, attempting to drive it off. Halberstadt doggedly chases the Bristol and eventually forces the British aircraft to run for home. Just as the Bristol disappears, the German Pfalz arrives on the scene. Quickly assessing the situation on the ground, the pilot immediately begins to attack the French troops. Outgunned and outnumbered, the French troops are finally forced to make a hurried withdrawal. Having driven off the French and captured their positions, the Germans stand down and share a moment with their officers who have come out of the town to congratulate their troops. The lull in activities on the ground signals the end of the action to the German pilots in the Halberstadt and the Pfalz, and both aircraft return to the airfield.